good afternoon, my dear friends. Or should I call you the leaders of tomorrow? This one sounds better, right? Thank you. And my heartfelt gratitude that आप लोग इतनी देर से बैठे हुए हैं. Luckily, I'm the last one. Okay. So if you still have a little bit of patience, do hear out. I'm going to make it very short. I'll start with the basic fundamental premise कि जब हम पैदा हुए, when I was born, it was disruption all around. Disruption in the family, disruption in the environment. Why in the family? Because I was a handful. I am the only child of my parents, but I made sure that they never ever thought of having a second one. I was enough, right? And when you talk of this leadership stuff, you know, your leadership समझने के लिए या practice करने के लिए मुझे corporate job और ये सब इनकी ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ी. It came very early in my life. The first disruption that happened with me was in the family. My family was filled with physicians and molecular biologists and PhDs in science and technocrats. And मैंने 10th pass किया with 100% marks in biology and chemistry and chose to do and then chose humanities to study history, economics, English and geography. You know, my whole family was ready to boycott me. So disruption to tab se shuru ho gayi. But I was happy because I realized that I was capable to take control of my own decisions. And that was the first time I realized that there was kahin par a little seed of leadership living inside me. And what is this leadership? This is not about quotes. This is not about big theories. This was all about, could I take a risk in a family where people had never studied, okay, in the kind of subjects that I was doing, I was ready to take the risk. And remember, my time, you were not even born. That was not the time of smartphones. There was no Google, there was no internet, and we only had black colored एक बहुत ही भद्दा देखने वाला रिंगर टेलीफोन. ठीक है, जिसको डायल करने के बाद 24 घंटा एसटीडी और 48 घंटा आईएसटीडी के लिए वेट करना पड़ता था. So I'm talking of a very different time zone, very different kind of influences, and I was fighting that. In my 11th standard, when I went into my 11th standard, I was studying in one of the best institutions in the country called Delhi Public School, Arkipuram. And in my 11th standard, I was chosen to become the head girl of the school. And somebody came and put a little word in my ear कि head girl मत बनना, उनको सिर्फ principal की चापलूसी करना पड़ता है. आप अपना कभी कर ही नहीं सकते हो. So I said, okay, doesn't matter. What's the other thing that's available? Because I was an accomplished student. So second disruption, I became the Students' Union President of the school. And the Student Union President बहुत powerful होता था. DPS was a school, unfortunately, which reaped money, had lots of money. But to transfer students from home and to the school, they used to hire what are known as the DTC buses, Delhi Transport Corporation. Rickety, old, very dangerous, slippery pedestals. And we had a couple of very, very unfortunate instances when children fell and actually was severely wounded. Bacche. So when I was the Students' Union President, I led the first hartal in my school, 2 days of complete boycott, and we said if the school does not invest in its own transport fleet, nobody is going to ever attend the classes. And that was the most successful march which was ever done. We bought 27 buses by the DPS Trust, and till date, not a single child travels in a private bus anymore. So leadership तो भाई साहब तब तक थोड़ा बहुत हम समझ गए थे कि that is the chosen path. But the final test was in college. And that is where the risk-taking ability, the passion to force through an issue surfaced. I am not sure, again, I'm repeating the statement, any of you were born at the time of what is known as the Mandal Commission. It took I know, I meant the students. So the Mandal Commission was the first time which ushered in reservation in India, okay? And the Delhi University students, apart from the rest of the students all across India, we actually broke an agitation. And I was in my second year of college at that time, doing my graduation, and I was one of the student leaders leading the protest. So we get out the parliament. We created a human chain around the parliament. We were lathi charged. We sat in front of the All India Radio, cross-legged on the road, and we were sprayed with water cannons. But जो एक चीज हुई, जो मुझे भी पता नहीं था, I had already qualified in my mains of my civil services exam at that time. It was only the interview which was remaining. Lekin because of leading the agitation, I was arrested and there was an FIR which was made in my name. And as per the Civil Services Code, if you have a police case registered against you, you cannot qualify for the civil services again. So what more disruption in life? How much more disruption can you think of? But did I step back? You heard the previous speaker just before me talk about so many vagaries he had to go through in life. I had no less. But I realized that life doesn't come to an end. When you take charge of your decisions, if you choose to do things differently, if you know that, you have to get into the adaptability circle, and that's something which I think is a very important competence in the age of disruption, be it in my times or your time, which is learning, unlearning, and relearning. That's the adaptability conundrum. If you get into that mold, you can overcome any problems and you can win any war. And that's exactly that I did. And that's why I'm standing in front of you. Despite the fact that I had to forego probably a very, very celebrated life as a civil servant, I don't think I've done anything too much wrong in my life. 32 years in the industry. And I've done a few things which I can actually claim to be very, very successful because I worked towards it not because uske end mein result kya tha. I worked towards it because I was passionate about it. Okay? For instance, there was an organization for which I headed the HR function for Southeast Asia. And my superior officer, my boss, was a Chinese. So for many of the strategic meetings, I had to visit China. And during one of those visits, she also a very, very formidable lady, she decided to throw open a team building exercise for all the competing teams. So we had a team from Singapore, we had a team from India, we had a team from Pakistan, we had a team from China, Taiwan, all these teams. And you know what was the beautiful team building exercise? You had to climb the Badaling section of the Great Wall of China with your team. Imagine Great Wall of China. And there was one segment opened for us, and you can't believe who won. Can you take a guess? Which country HR team won that competition? It was India. My team of 4 members and myself, we ran so hard. And those staircases are like this. They are all very badly dismembered, and they are, jise kehte hain, ubad khabad. Us type ke steps leke, we went right to the top, and that was called the Hero's Peak. So we were celebrated with an 18-karat gold medal for the Indian team. So, these are things which come to you because of the passion. Because true leadership is not about power and authority. True leaders are not motivated by a power syndrome, but they are motivated because they have a purpose, because they want to inspire, because they want to leave a legacy behind. वो चाहते हैं कि वो ना भी रहे तो उनके बारे में 2 ऐसी चीज हो जो लोगों को याद रहे. That is the true relevance of leadership, according to me. So the ability to take risks, according to me, number 1. Number 2, the vision to not only take your work, your profession, your personal life to a level where people look at you and say, wow, what a life you lead. And the third one, important, break the mold. challenge the status quo, create so much of newness so that log disruption ko bhi dekhe aur kahe, wow, this is something we can do some good thing around it. And last but not the least, keep the adaptability cycle alive. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. And the sky's the limit. You talk about all the main big inspirational leaders that we talk about. Elon Musk, who's changed the whole world about automobiles and rockets. Steve Jobs, who's turned Apple into an aspirational dream for millions of us. Reed Hastings, which Rao just spoke about a little back, who converted the Netflix from a video entertainment industry to something which is streaming world across. Finally, two more people, probably less known but no less. Kazuo Anemuro. Does anybody know about him? Dr. Kazuo, he's the owner of Kyocera. People might have heard about Kyocera, one of the industrial and engineering giants from Korea. He has developed what is known as the amoeba management theory. If you haven't heard about it, go and read it. It's something which is so contradictory to what we think is the true management story. He's divided up his company into 400 pieces, and he's found a digital way of entwining it together. There is no concept of consolidation. Rather, it's all a concept of dispersion. The last but not the least, I think somebody also mentioned it, is Dara. Everybody knows Dara because now he's called Dara Uber, but his actual name is Dara Khosrowshahi. He's the guy who transformed the fleet management from a scandal-ridden, badly managed, operationally efficient, and a dynamic organization in the world today. So these are the kind of inspirational people we need to look up to. They have not been forced because they wanted power and authority. That came as a byproduct. You run the race, you run it well, you apply the right kind of metrics, it'll automatically come to you. So they ran because they wanted to leave behind a legacy. And that's the reason why today most of us standing here are talking about them. Friends, thank you for listening to this. Remember, true leadership is not what you believe in, but true leadership is something which 10 others behind you get inspired by and talk about you when you're even not there in the picture. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.